um, related to how the teacher creates the classroom management, lesson design, and discourse so that these other aspects of social wellness and cognitive learning happen in the classroom. There's a nice quote that's on the side here. The community of inquiry framework specifically identifies course design, direct instruction, and facilitation of learning as central to the teaching presence in an online course. Keep that in mind for your teaching presence and management. You're going to create a welcoming space for your students. So you're going to start with a greeting and you're going to personalize this experience. You're going to have humor and reward checking in. You're going to have a reward system for them. So when I'm discussing this welcoming space, I'm not just talking about how when we were in class with our students, we would meet them at the door and we would give all these wonderful things with our interactions with our students that they felt welcome. We need to find a way to do that when they are not in front of us. So I saw a lot of teachers were working on gifts for their kids and creating rewards like little video clips and time for lunch with you virtually. These are all wonderful ways to create a welcoming space. I would suggest also having in your virtual classroom a platform spot, like a discussion board spot or an announcement spot where you're able to interact with them, with your students, where they can see how you're interacting with all the other kids in class. So, starting with a greeting post and personalizing your experience with fun colors and pictures and um, it's talking to students directly in the forums. That will make the whole platform feel like a classroom. You're going to maintain high expectations for your students during the live instruction and during the virtual chats and breakout rooms. You're going to try your best to have the same procedures each time so that since we're going back and forth in classroom and at home and maybe even full virtual as well, or for the students who are completely virtual as well, you're going to need to try your best to make this experience consistent day in and day out so that the kids that really need that routine don't feel like they're missing out on anything or don't feel confused and overwhelmed when they're trying to jump in when they're back in the classroom or when they're at home trying to be virtual with you. So when you're having those group instructions and those breakout rooms, try and be consistent on what day or what part of your lesson that's happening in, and always follow through with whatever consequences you have for not attending to these meetings or behaviors during these meetings so that everybody feels welcome and safe during the instruction live and they know what there is expected of them. Connections with family, they are key for distance learning. So, weekly announcements or emails about what's coming up for the week. Make sure you're not forgetting your multilingual families. Use translator apps to check in with them. There's ones that are similar to Remind that will translate whatever you're writing in their language for them. Um, you can also use the school's call-in lines as well to translate what you're speaking about to them and call and check in on them, see how they're doing, make those connections. We're going to try and take any risk out of participation and out of feeling like we can share our learning with our group discussions. So simplify the languages and the directions, and use recordings so they can replay what they're supposed to do and pause it and listen to it again. Record your voice. Encourage your students to make those mistakes and take chances in the discussion boards and encourage them to improve their grade by not redoing their work and not putting a lot of pressure on that, but on the actual work itself getting done. Be engaging. Call on kids that are remote as well as the ones that are in person. Connect your students that are there with you with there's a typo, sorry, with the remote student to help. So pair them up. Use the buddy systems for work. By using their chat boards and the breakout rooms. Do the best you can to engage both groups of kids. I know it's going to be tough. We can get through this though. For your lesson design, these steps on the left-hand side are great tips, and the things on the right-hand side here is kind of how you might outline it. Plan ahead for the week when we're virtual. This way, kids that are at home trying to work with their family's schedules will be able to move ahead and at their own pace and connect with everything when they're able to. But it also will give you a little bit of sanity too, to have that done ahead of time so that you can just focus on getting it executed and keep it all virtual. Just execute it in person for the kids that are there in person. But everything that you have, if you weren't there in person, would be able to be done by the kids independently or with their parents. So you will want for each daily lesson then, and I'm looking at the right-hand side. It's interesting how it uploaded the outline in a weird way. It has two A's instead of 1 and 2 topic. Well. Daily lesson can include an overview lesson goals done with audio. So the kids can just play and listen to your voice. And when you're in a classroom and you're hybrid, you can tell them that they can click there and hear you speak it all over again. Or you can just save your voice and play it. Direct instruction video or live. So since we're doing hybrid, you're gonna be teaching all the introductions and the daily goals and stuff live. Record it and save it. You could play it then in the classroom and discuss it in the classroom. Or you can tell your kids when you're done with your introduction that they can listen to that again if they don't remember. Engage and explore tasks will be done with interactive technology. So things where they're doing their critical thinking and they're getting their excitement and their wonder, make that all interactive technology. This way, the kids that are at home can interact with the kids that are in school and be able to team up and work together and get that social collaboration happening. But also, if you happen to have to go completely virtual, you have that done and ready for them to still get that sense of wonder and critical thinking done at home. Use things also that have collaboration and ways of demonstrating to you a creation of their knowledge done virtual. So each day, have them do something that they can check in with you so that you know that there is engagement and learning happening. The group activities that can be done over technology can be done through Google Documents and through the breakout rooms in Google Meet. And there's lots of other platforms that are in our professional development that you can listen to other teachers and learn and use that in that part of your lesson. You're going to want to have a daily quick evaluation so that you know if these strategies that you're doing are effective and you don't waste any time. We don't have much time with our students with these kinds of schedules. We had to cut out curriculum. So we want to be very specific with what we're having our kids create and engage in, and then see immediate feedback so we know if we need to reteach anything quickly. So for evaluating it daily, you can use various tools. or just collect stuff in a portfolio and Drive that they're creating to see how they're doing. So there's lots of virtual assessments that have multisensory tools online now. It's rather fascinating to see. I'll have a list of that in part 2 that you can take a look at. But you're going to want to design your lessons with those things in mind. And take a look at the tips on the left-hand side. I can't stress enough, though, how your teacher presence will feel more real if there is consistent and frequent feedback. Just like in the classroom, we are able to walk around the classroom and pat our kids on the back and be like, good job, Not really, but you're going to be interacting with them consistently, um, pointing out things in their work that they're doing throughout the day live needs to happen somehow virtually as well. So to make things feel real, think about how you can make it meaningful versus frequent. Um, that is much more precious to a student when they see that you have taken the time to pick something out of their work to comment on and use their name, rather than the copy paste feedback stuff, which is fine on occasion, but as much as you can, make something meaningful happen. Create time for regular check-ins one-on-one. Use the Google Meet groups to have regular sessions with students on a specific day and time so they know that it's coming up. Feedback on assignments as quickly as possible will make your students turn in their work as frequently and quickly and timely as possible. Make them accountable, which will make them motivated. But live feedback, comments, discussion boards, in-person one-on-ones, making those connections with your students that way will make the community aspect happen much easier and much more real. We're going to facilitate discourse as well. As your teacher presence will be seen when you're trying to have your kids interact with each other and there's a list here of so many different ways that you can get that interaction to happen both in person and virtual as a hybrid or all virtual. So this designing time during your virtual meetings where the kids can all talk and share without you being in the middle of it and guiding them, but having that open dialogue. Using hand signals and color-coded cards for kids to be called on, both at home and in classroom. Gamifying lessons and creating badges for rewards that can get passed out live. The student lounge, Padlet, Flipgrid discussion topics, discussion board topics in classroom or in Seesaw. Creating simple model for responses so that they can use it each time will make sure that that is also done in a safe and less anxious way where your anxious kids will know they do it in this manner, they'll be doing it like everybody else. And they'll know that they are safe to do these discussions on the boards and responses in writing. And model, model, model. Reward, reward, reward. And you can really get a wonderful teacher presence in your classroom.